you'll get a recording of this webinar via email that you registered with. And when Bart's gonna go, during Bart's presentation, you can ask questions using a Zoom chat, and we'll be answering them depending on the level of the question. We'll be answering as we go, or we'll answer them all, the rest of them, during a Q&A section that's gonna be on the end of this whole session.
But rest assured, we will explain everything about Explain Everything. It's our duty. We're here for you. So please go ahead and type in those questions. We are really excited to address those.
Awesome.
Awesome. Okay, so let's look at possible scenarios before we dive into feedback and assessment. So during back to school period, currently back to school 2019, we covered on previous webinars 2 scenarios already. One was related to visual presentation, where a tablet device such as this one can be used to replace static whiteboards or chalkboard in order to provide more dynamic way of presenting knowledge to students in the classroom. So that was the scenario where teacher using device projects screens, whiteboard canvas to students. We also spoke about the scenario where Explain Everything was used in order to produce a video to prep students before the lesson with a video material, or even in a scenario where the entire lecture is recorded in the time when it is provided by the teacher. So that's the second use case. And if you're interested in those, you can go to our webpage and you can find recordings of those webinars, and the link, let me just put it here.
Right, I'll link it in the chat so you can click it there.
But it's essentially /webinars, where you can find information about past webinars. And today we're going to focus on feedback and assessment, a scenario, which is, as I mentioned, very exciting because it actually uses the functionality of our technology in a very comprehensive way. Because you can exchange projects, you can exchange videos, you can exchange artifacts of learning in a different forms. And this is something we'll show you how to do, because the end result should be a feedback loop where information is exchanged between student and teacher, so the teacher is informed about the progress made by the student, and student can benefit from insights and suggestions from the teacher. Okay?
Yep.
Yeah?
It's all good.
So let's look at the scenario that we're going to cover today and show you practical skills based on this scenario. We're going to provide you information on both ends, from the teacher's end and from the student's end. And we'll start with a student. And the scenario we're going to show you is actually covered in the white paper that is published on our Back to School subpage.
Right. So if you want to explore more of these scenarios that cover screencasting and assessment, you can find this ebook and download. It's a PDF. You can go to explaineverything.com, and there is a landing page called Back to School 2019. And in the section talking about the assessment and feedback, you can find a link to a ebook talking about those scenarios that were gathered by one of Explain Everything co-founders, Rashan Richards, where he went and gathered real classroom scenarios from teachers he knew, and where he went step by step and explained them. So this is one of them. We're gonna go through one of them, and this should give you a good idea behind what's possible and how this whole thing gonna work.
So I'm just loading this material just to show you what is available on our website. So formative assessment and screencasting, that's Rashan, that Kuba mentioned. And there are few use cases in this document. We're going to use one example provided by Rushan, where whiteboard is used to exchange, well, yeah, let me show you on the whiteboard, not in the book, but on the whiteboard, to exchange information between students before actually engaging in the process of reading non-fiction book. So what we'll do on this list of steps is we're going to step into shoes of the student where you want to capture using whiteboard expectations related to the book that we're going to read. That's the book that we chose for today. So we're going to capture our expectations related to what we're going to learn after reading the book. We're going to capture what we've learned and share that with teachers so the teacher can respond to it and suggest additional ways of looking at things and comments to the things that student learned. And by this, we create what we showed and talked before, a feedback loop, where information is exchanged between student and teacher. And for today, we're going to use video format for exchange. So the student will exchange video recording with teacher, and the teacher then will use this recording to send information back to student as a recording, as well as a recording reflecting on what was captured by student. Does that make sense?
Yep. Oh.
We'll see. An emphasis today is on practical skills. So I'll try to do it in a way that teacher and student will, using Explain Everything. So I'll close this for now, and we'll show you the steps along the way. So let's say now I'm a student. I got this assignment from my teacher to provide expectations related to books. So what I'll do is I'll create a new project. I'm just tapping here, new project on the main screen. I choose blank canvas, and yeah, I'll name it project, student project. Okay. Let's choose a background of some nice color. Let's go for green today. And what I will do is I will add a photo of the cover so we know what book we're talking about. So I'll do the picture now.
All right, so I've seen Bart just tap on the Add Media button and then chosen and then chosen new picture from the top menu, from the top part of the menu.
Now I have the picture. I'll use photo. And you see, before it's added to the canvas, we have this image editor that allows you to, let's say, crop picture, because we don't need those surroundings here. We can also crop it some more. And let's remove background so there's no table visible. So I'm using now background removal tool and pointing which area should disappear and just like matching similar color by swiping my finger. Nice and easy. I can, of course, use this free selection tool to crop it some more because there is something in the top left corner that I don't like. Yeah, so I end up with a nice looking cover of my book that I can now put to the canvas like that without a background. So we're not using any photo editor. These are just functions within the whiteboard. So now, as a student, I'm going to provide my expectations by recording myself speaking to what I have on the canvas. So let me go ahead, I'll hit record. Hey, this is me, Bart, the student, and I'm going to read the Homo Deus here. And the thing that I want to learn is a concept that is very interesting to me. It's called Dadaism. And I've heard that Yuval Noah Harari originated that concept, and this is something I'd love to learn. Then I press stop. So as you see, as a student, I kind of captured my expectations related to the book in the form of a video. I can rewind, play it back. Hey, this is me, Bart, the student, and I'm going to read the book Homo Deus here. And the thing that I want to... And as you see, if I open the timeline on the bottom, of my screen by tapping the counter, I can reveal the timeline where those activities that those actions that I did are revealed. So I can see that with green color, I like annotated here on the cover of the book, the title of the book, then I wrote something in black color. So yeah, that's a very basic video that student can do in seconds. Now, before I send it to the teacher, I will create a new slide. And that was the plus button in the lower right corner that created new green slides. So I now have 2 slides. And on the second slide, let's say I already read the book, and now I'm able to reflect upon what I've learned. And I want to do it by, again, bringing to the canvas page of the book with some annotations and what I've learned from that page related to the notion of dataism. So I know that it's covered in this section. If you could help me out, Kuba. Sure. I'll just make a new picture. Okay, thank you. We can again try to remove the background, but that's not necessary. We can also go with the picture as it is. I like that. So I put the picture here. And because I'll be speaking about dataism, I might want to highlight some things that I will refer to. You can do that, and after you annotate something on top of, let's say, document or picture, those annotations, those highlights will stick to the document underneath. So that's quite handy if you want to do, if you want to create materials that then you can reposition and use in a different context. So you can, for example, make an annotation here. Dataism. And even if I go outside of the object that I annotated, those annotations, this arrow and this annotation here will also stick to the content. So that's quite useful. And maybe I'll do something more with yellow color. All right. And again, I'll record a short narration just to show you how the resulting video would look like. So this is again Bart, the student, and I read the book, I love the book. I know that is under intersection of science, computer science, and biology. It's actually defined by the author as a new religion where the first commandment is the exchange of data. And now, after recording my second slide, I do have 2 slides in my project. The first one, where I express my interest in what I'm going to learn. The second one, what I've learned from the book. So now the only thing that I need to do is to exchange this video with my teacher, so the teacher can react to the video that I just created. So I'll go to the export, and I'll go to the share, sorry, that's the share button, and I'll use export, second option from the top here. And I'll use video as a resulting file. Of course, what is on the canvas can be exported also as a document, as a set of images, or a project. But in this example, we will focus only on a video. So this is something that can be played on any device, anywhere. And I will save this. Yeah, Kuba, tell us something more. Where we can save such video? Well,
depending on what you want to do with it. So let's say if your school uses a cloud storage, you can send it there, right, directly from your iPad. You can send it via email. Now, I think the use case that Rishan was describing in the book that you can find on our webpage is the teacher was, well, the student were sending this via email.
Or even.
And then it went to Evernote. That's, yeah, that was it was like a through email to Evernote. So there, depending on what your school goes for, you will be able to share it via your cloud source, like a Dropbox, Google Drive, or even like local storage, like in your area network, local area network. So that's also possible. Yeah, like so. As usual, we are using iPad here, but those sharing options are dependent on what you're using and how you wanna share it, and the structure looks like. And it's also possible. So if you're using iPad, but do not use any other cloud source, you are able to just send it via AirDrop too. So yeah.
AirDrop works pretty well. For this demonstration, however, we're using Dropbox, so I'm going to save this to a folder I have on a Dropbox just to illustrate how it works. Okay, so let's continue with our scenario. So what I did, I selected the book, I opened Explain Everything, I started a new project, took a photograph of the cover, I spoke about the expectations. I did not use the laser pointer that I use now, but let me demonstrate it here. I can use a lightsaber for that. I read the book, and then I was able to record myself speaking about what I found in the book. So the project, that is the recording, was shared with the teacher. And now let's look from the teacher's perspective, what you can do in order to provide feedback to what student recorded. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the recording and add it to the project for feedback. And using the recording of the student, we will record ourselves as teachers reacting to it, providing additional insight that will be helpful for students once we exchange this response of ours using digital whiteboards.
Right. So because the product that Bart created, I should have added that as part of exporting the video. So the product of the Bart created, we're going to show you how what teacher can do with it. Because as you get the video from your students, you're not only able to see the thought process behind it, because the student was encouraged to narrate their thinking, like narrate the video and show their thinking and explain it. It's not only that you can get it, but as a teacher, it can be shared with the whole class, or they can try and share it with their peers, so that not only you get to see it, but they can see it. And it is also a great example, like the great use case of Explain Everything. They are also
redo it, right?
Yeah, yeah. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's there for you, so you've learned about how you were trying to say that and what could be improved. So there's a lot of thinking. And then after Bart gives their feedback to them, they will, those information will align to themselves, so that they will have their thinking, their errors, and if they liked it or not, if they could make it better. And then Bart's thinking gonna also help them find something maybe they didn't see. So and same goes for their classmates and themselves, right? So these all three aspects of recording a video, trying to explain something, will explain everything you are able to reach, to explore, right?
Okay. Absolutely, yeah. But I mean, we're only simplifying the scenario for the purpose of this demonstration, because when we think of formative assessment, it can be done on so many levels in so many ways. So the scenario that today we're covering, this is like a a synchronous exchange. This is not a feedback that you provide real time, although you could, and we'll tell you how. This is something that will be mostly visual, but also oral, right? As we're going to create a video. And it might be interactive or cyclical. Today, we're going to provide something that's cyclical, and this is something that can also be shared across distance. So that's the subset of what is possible when you use Explain Everything for formative assessment. So continuing with our story, I'm now in the position of a teacher reacting to the video that was provided to me by my student after reading the book. So what I'll do, and again, let's start with blank canvas here. So I'll open new project, and teacher might use different color. Let's go with blue this time. And what I'm, okay, and one more thing, that's teacher's reaction. I don't know why capital letters, but let's leave it for now. What I'm going to do is I'll add to the Canvas video provided by my students. So what I need to do is to go to File and choose a repository where it was stored. I used Dropbox, and we know that there's this folder webinar. I already see the video created by my student. So all I need to do is to tap it so it loads and import this to the canvas. And here's the button top right corner to import the video. Okay, so now I have the video. I can play it. Hi, this is me, Bart, the student, and I'm going to read the book Homo Deus here. And as you see, teacher can go through the recording, scroll back and forth, spot students thinking, spot any flaws perhaps, or areas of improvement that can be done, like, tackled in the response to this video. So this is something I'd love to learn. So this is, again, Bart, the student, and I read the book, I love the book. I know that is under intersection of science, computer science, and biology. It's actually defined by the author as a new religion, where the first... That is great, but there's one thing I would like to inform my student about, is that dadaism was not actually originated by this author. It was known in the past, and for that, I need a supportive material that I could bring into the canvas. I do have something on my iPad, so I'll just save this project for now, look for my resources related to Dadaism. I have something in my concepts. All right. And of course, I have those concepts here for the purpose of this demonstration in Explain Everything project, and I'll just copy what I have here.
So in order to copy stuff from different projects, you just select Inspector, select them by swiping.
Like this?
Like that. And then choose Copy from the Edit tab. And now you've just copied the contents, and then you can paste them onto a different slide in a different project or in the same project. It's going to work anyway.
Thank you. So now I have it in my clipboard, so I can record my reaction to the project. And I'll start doing that, and I'll use the content of my clipboard at some point of time of my reaction. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press record as a teacher and speak about my reaction, playing back what student provided in his movie. So this is like a scenario where I'm recording movie clip, video clip, using clip that is within the canvas of my whiteboard. An inception perhaps, but this is quite easy if you think about it. I'll press record. Hey, it's Bart, the teacher, and I love what you read. This is a great book. I love your reaction to the book, but I wanted to emphasize one thing in this moment of your recording, you suggest that the dataism was actually coined by the author. In fact, you might be interested in looking at the resources that exist out there, as some of the books that I'll show you here are actually referring to dataism, and some of them go back in time to 1998. I know that Wikipedia provides information that dataism was coined by David Brooks here in the article Philosophy of Data, but please, if you're interested, check this book and this book. That's my teacher's reaction to what was provided by my student. So if I scroll back to the very beginning of the recording, you'll see me scrolling through the recording and adding my comments to the content. So let's play it back. Hey, it's Bart, the teacher, and I love what you read. This is a great book. I love your reaction to the book, but I wanted to emphasize one thing. In this moment of your recording, you suggest that the dataism was actually coined by the author. In fact, you might be interested in looking at the resources that exist out there, as some of the books that I'll show you here are actually referring to dataism, and some of them go back in time to 19. Now, as you see, this is like a comprehensive material that provides me as a teacher opportunity to add in additional pieces of information that might be helpful for the student to learn about the background of dataism. And of course, this is a kind of like extreme. I use several books, but you can always like open, if you like to add one cover, one object, you can open, let's say, Amazon, find a book, let's say, and drag and drop materials that you find useful in your presentation, just like that. Bearing in mind the
copyright.
The copyright rights. Yeah. So I'll I'll just remove it for now. But that way, you can add content that will be useful for teacher when listening to your response. That will be useful for students, when listening to your response as a teacher. What is important in doing that is that you can add content that can appear at any more point of time. So if you remember at the very beginning of my recording, I said, great job. Maybe let's add this as a visual, element to my recording. I'll just find the moment where I say that. The teacher, and I love what you read. This is a great book. Okay, somewhere here, I just want to encourage my student by adding, great job. As you see, I'm on the 10th second of my recording. So the object that I will add here and animate like this will appear on 10th second of the recording. So I want to not only add it as I did now, as you see, when I scroll through the recording, it will appear on 10th second. I want to also move it. So for that, I'll show you one cool trick. I'll mute my microphone and we'll record the animation of this object. By muting the microphone, I will not add additional audio recording. I don't need it. I just want to move this great job across the street, this screen, and then delete it so it disappears. That's all I want to do. So I'll hit recording here. Great book. I love your reaction to the book, but at this point, I want this to disappear. So I'll do that. And the result of that will play nicely. I love what you read. This is a great book. I love your reaction to the book, but I wanted to. And as you see, by those tricks, you can easily create visually appealing material that is a feedback for your student with additional information to expand knowledge on their notion of dataism.
Awesome. That's great. So regarding this use case, the summary in the book that Rashan provided was that the teacher saw screencasting as a way to capture and mediate a dialogue where students could practice the strategy, and she would be able to see what all students were working on, regardless of whether she was able to connect with them face to face during a given class period. So this sort of asynchronous dialogue that was going between student and the teacher allowed them to see more, regardless if they were at the same place at the same time or not. So this is what Explain Everything enables in that particular scenario. So regarding the feedback, because this was something that we've covered in the, well, that's the name of the webinar, but so it doesn't have to be a video created in right. Explain Everything. Mm-hmm. You can, if there are other sorts of media that you want to provide auditory and written feedback, then you are able to do so by importing any sorts of media to your project and then sending it back to a student. So if they have like a written page, a picture, document, whatever, presentation, you can import that to your teacher Explain Everything project and then record yourself explaining your thinking to them, regardless if they are there or not. So
our choice of video here is on purpose because we want to demonstrate something that is not possible on paper. But if you want to replicate this feedback loop by, say, sending annotation to the written material, that's still okay. You can do this.
Yeah. Yep.
Video is just exciting. That's why we're using it so much and demonstrating how to do it. Because actually, in the recording of reaction to the video of the student, this is quite fun.
Yeah, and so we want to. I think we should go through some of the issues you might encounter. So there's this right
before the issues. Yeah. So let me show you.
Maybe it's not issues, but you know the things you might want to look at before recording video inside of video, because it's it was tricky for some people. Uh-huh. We got this feedback from Explain Everything users that they were running into some problems with including a video inside of Explain Everything project. So the first thing I guess is that to mention is that when you insert a video inside of your project, it doesn't mean that your video, the project video, is recorded. You need to record interaction with the video inside mm-hmm. of the project. So that's why we said inception, right? Because it's like a video inside a video. But to play the video, you need to record your interaction with it. So you need to press the main record button at the bottom of the screen and then play the video in order to, for this video to appear in the video that you're recording right now. Yeah.
The simplest way to put it is that Explain Everything captures all the interaction of the content you have on your canvas. So what you're recording is your interaction with the content. Okay, so when I hit record here, I'm recording myself speaking to the content. I can rotate this video. I can play it back and still talk to the video. I can pause it, rewind it to the very end. I can even take element of that page out of the video and use it separately. So this is for the purpose of demonstration to show you what Explain Everything captures. So now it captured, as you see, at some point of time, that was 6 seconds, I played back this movie provided by a student that I have on a canvas, and then I pause it 3 seconds later. Let's play it back so you can see what kind of issue you might have when doing a similar scenario. Take this video, I can play it back and still talk to the video. I can pause it, rewind it.
Right. So what happened? This is a particular scenario because Bart was recording his voice And by using the default iPad microphone, which means the video was playing and the sound of a video went to the microphone of an iPad. So it was not only you're hearing the sound of the video itself in the project, but you can also hear the sound of a video that was recorded by the iPad microphone, which creates this echo effect. And this is the easiest way to avoid any echo effects and explain everything is just to use headphones.
Right.
Simple as that. Just use headphones. This way, the sound of a playing video will not get to the microphone of your device. That's a very simple trick, and you will not have this problem.
However, you can fix the problem later using functionality of editing recordings. You can explain everything. So for purpose of this demonstration, let's say I want to remove what I spoke when this video played altogether. I can do that by, let's say, blocking the track on the timeline where this playback was provided. I can select this piece of recording where I want to remove my audio, right? And I tap delete. And now, as you see, I altered the audio track so there will be no echo. Once I play it, there'll be only audio that exists in the video recording that was played on the canvas. So let's hear it back. Take this video, I can play. Hey, this is me, Bart, the student, and I'm going to read a book. And that's how you can actually modify your video for good effect, so you don't have any echo effect as we discussed.
Right. That's one of the most common questions we get. Right.
That's why so much focus on it. So I'll remove this slide for now because we want to show you also a second way you can share those resources, such as my teacher's reaction to students' content. Previously, when I was in shoes of a student, I exported video. That means this video was rendered on student's device and provided to this cloud repository in form of a file. Let's say my reaction was quite long. I expressed myself fully, and since I do have like 15 more students waiting for my reaction, I just want to save some time and let cloud do this heavy lifting of creating videos. So I just wanted to get it done and send the link to the video to my student. How I do that? You can go to the share options here and choose create web video link. Once you do that, what will happen, and you'll notice this shortly, is that my project will be shared to the cloud. And rendering this project to the movie will be done by the infrastructure on our end. So this link that you see here can be provided to the student knowing that underneath video will play. That means you have your video in a second instead of like waiting for the rendering process to finish. So we can share that on the chat, webinar's chat, so you can see the result, right? So I'll send it to you, Kuba, so you can share it with others. Yeah. So that's a nice trick that you can use. So let's see where we are. So as a teacher, I watched the recording provided by the student. I opened a new project to provide my feedback. I added student's video. Yes, it was great. I recorded my suggestions and recommendations using this video, scrubbing back and forth the video to find the relevant moment in time where I can react, suggesting additional materials related to Dadaism. And yeah, and I stopped the recording and I shared this with my student. That means I finished this loop that can continue, if you like, as a conversation mediated using whiteboard, like, you know, cyclical, in a cyclical way.
Sure. So we've got some questions already.
Okay, happy to respond to them.
We can respond. So first question was from Carl Heinz. Hello, Carl.
Hey.
Nice to meet you. Nice to have you again on the webinar. Great questions always. So he's asking, I just took a look at Rashawn Richards' book that you mentioned. I only found the students' instructions. During your demonstration, you also have the activity instructions for teachers. Where can I find those? Is it a different book PDF? So no, we've created the activities for teacher in Explain Everything, just for the sake of, sorry, not for the sake, but just for this webinar. And we came up with those by looking at the example and possibilities of Explain Everything. The actual use case was just the student screening video. So that was the use case found by Rashawn. We've added this layer of teacher response to that scenario, so you can see what's possible. And that's for this webinar. Yeah.
As we wanted to demonstrate it from both ends, but you know the bottom line is that you can actually take a material, as we took this process here from white paper. I'll show you how we did that, because that's quite informative. We took 2 pages of our own publication, put it here for our webinar, and then using this content, we actually created a new page that was, as you noticed, and not existing, and we designed this. So those elements, as you see, can be edited at any point of time because they are made in Explain Everything. So Explain Everything is not only a good tool to share back and forth materials, it's also a tool to prepare materials if you need them, as we needed those instructions for teachers for this webinar.
Awesome. So there's another question coming from Daniel. Can you mute yourself while you are recording? Yes. Yeah. So the way you do that, because you can do that whenever you want. It's just a button on the bottom, right next to the record button. Here you can just tap on it, and it will disable your microphone. So muting it, I think you can even do that while you're recording.
Yes, you can. Yeah.
So if you know that you need to mute yourself, you just press on the microphone, and it will mute your microphone. So
let's show this.
Sure.
So I'm unmuted now, and now I'm muted, and I'm again unmuted. That's interesting. Again unmuted. So yeah. Again unmuted. We can see the audio on the track, but you cannot hear the audio, right? Oh no, sorry, I misunderstood what was represented by Explain Everything. So here we were unmuted, and there's nothing as I was muted, and then I was unmuted. So I'm unmuted now. I'm again unmuted.
Right, and for like a very advanced scenario, you can turn that automatically an iPad version of Explain Everything. You can, there's a setting, it's called mute microphone while playing inserted video. So there's an option that will automatically mute your microphone after you press play on a video object on your canvas. This is great for some scenarios. That's why we implemented that, and it's an option because they will just, it's not, you do not very often talk while a video is playing, but if the video is not without audio, then you might want to turn that off. So, but there is a shortcut, so you don't have to press multiple times during your recording and disable your microphone. So that's possible too.
Yeah,
right.
Recording on a whiteboard is actually one of the most sought after scenarios. That's why you find multiple options in the settings as we try to make our technology fit different needs. So, but don't get intimidated with list of options you have. By default, we provide those that are work for majority of teachers and students, but you can, of course, go through them, ask us questions on support if there's something that that is confusing, and we'll answer those questions as well.
Cool. Yep.
Okay.
There are no other questions for now. So if you have any, feel free to use the Zoom chat and ask us. We'll answer them. So,
but I have a question. So what was most revealing where you studied this scenario? The way you see it being used by the teachers.
Oh, I have a really good example actually, because so we can kind of recreate that to some extent. So if we get back to your project of a student.
Sure.
And so I really like to explain everything because it shows you the process. I've said it numerous times. And say if this was an activity that involved like writing, or it was a math exercise or something like that, starts out with an instruction and then ends with the product. If you use a piece of paper or anything that doesn't involve recording the whole process, you start with a if you rewind to the beginning, you start with
to the very beginning.
Yeah,
okay. Mm-hmm.
You start with that, and then if you rewind to the end,
yeah, mm-hmm.
and you end up with that doesn't show you anything, right? It's just the end product of what you pitched to your students, and then they either made an error during their thinking, or they came to right conclusion or wrong. But with Explain Everything, you just press play, and then you just know what happened and what was their thinking. If you tell them to narrate what they are doing, they will focus more on what actually they're doing, and then later on you will have this as a product for you and for them, so they can see where they made an error. And I think there was this one video which I really liked from one of the teachers.
Was that a math example?
Yeah.
I remember that one, because it often happens that you have the right result from the wrong process of thinking. And Explain Everything can like, illustrate, can allow insights for the teacher into process of students thinking, so you can find those spots that she needs to correct as a teacher. And this math example is actually brilliant, because it shows if you look at the result, the result is correct, but the thinking was flawed. So that's what we encourage you to try for yourselves, as is one of the most appreciated benefits coming from this form of sharing knowledge.
Yeah, it's a great video that we really like, because it just shows how talking and engaging students.
It's actually captured also here, right? Because students share not only what they know about the subject, but also how they know about this.
Right. That's powerful. Yeah. That's just creates this area which you can explore and then point at and see how something was learned, right? How they came to this conclusion, and if that was something that they really want to tell. And that's a, when you record yourself, the first reaction you have is like, that was not really what I wanted to tell. And we often see those recordings of those webinars. There's a reason why we record those, right? Because we can read.
Okay, you just improved.
Yeah, so that means we can improve on that. B, you are able to see that later on. So because we can share it with you and see, well, it's a great content for any other people that, that will stumble upon that, right? So they can see what we've talked about. So not only we are benefiting from that because we can improve. You are, because you can revisit and see other people who were unable to join will also see that. So video is a very, very powerful medium.
Absolutely. And I remember in my past as a student how I wished to rewind the teacher like 15 seconds again and again. And actually, I did that. I sometimes captured, not because Explain Everything was not existing at the time, I captured some of those lectures in order to like listen again and again. So this is something that Explain Everything provides. We do have a good webinar on the recording. One was provided a week ago, I believe. It's going to, the series on webinars on the recording will continue. So there's going to be a new one. So if you're interested in this process of capturing with whiteboard, the things that are shared live in the classroom, or the things that are shared offline as a set of tutorials or training videos, we encourage you to sign up for those webinars.
Right. Yeah. And if you haven't seen the webinars or didn't participate in webinars before, they are under the link that I posted in the chat. And they are also on our YouTube page. Feel free to rewatch them and see how you can create those videos in them. So in those previous ones, in the first one, we went through the presentations, how you present, how you connect to a second screen. And then in the second one, we went through all the nuts and bolts of how animation and Explain Everything is recorded and how it works and what can you do with it. So next week, I think we're gonna explore like the knowledge of the science before, right? Yeah.
The findings, how to use whiteboard for increased retention of what is being presented to the students. So this is, again, will provide information how you can present using whiteboard, but present in a way that we do have some facts underlying, that supports the situation where you can provide your lecture in a way that is engaging and supporting retention of the things that were taught by the teacher.
Right, and the next one is going to be about the power recording features, of Explain Everything. So we'll go in depth on how to create robust animations and how to create cool effects in Explain Everything. So these are like advanced style webinars, and in 3 weeks we'll have a huge Q&A hands-on session where you'll be able to participate with us on Explain Everything, and we'll be able to answer your questions live.
We love those sessions, and we encourage you to sign up for those. If you have questions that are yet unanswered, we'll be obligated to answer them. But after today, we hope that you'll be able to use whiteboards in the classroom to create artifacts of learning and make feedback, process of feedback more effective, supported by technology. Thank you for joining us today. It was great to present this scenario to you together with Kuba.
Thank you very much, everyone.
We hope you like it.
We'll send you the recording of this webinar in the upcoming days. And if you're watching this on YouTube, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Because it was a long one. Thank you very much for coming, and see you in Explain Everything.
See you.